This is Steve Nelson Kyoko once again, and today we are going to focus on conditional and unconditional covenants. Okay, let's get it started. And unconditional covenants. What is a covenant before? Before we proceed, a covenant is a legal, whatever the pronunciation, the binding agreement between two or more people on something, right? And there are some things, you call them the characteristics of a covenant. Characteristics of covenants. And number one, we talk about things like parties. There must be parties, the people involved. Cannot just happen out of nowhere. The parties, the vows, our promises. I promise this one will happen. I promise I'll do this. Things like signs. So some of the things that have happened. The characteristics of covenants, they've got those things. The parties, the people involved, vows, those things that you say. Yeah, unaapa utafanya hivi. Promises, you promise these people, unawapea ahadi. Then we have got signs. Yeah, we are signs, ishara ya kwamba utatimiza haya mambo yote. Now, let's talk about things. And for example, like marriage covenants. Okay. We are talking about God now and human beings. That is God and human race. We're not talking about between human beings, because there are a lot about human beings, but it's about God and human race. For example, the first covenant and unconditional. Conditional. What is a conditional covenant, by the way? Before then, a conditional covenant is a covenant that depends on human beings. Depends entirely on human beings. On human. In which way? For example, if you do this, this will happen. Depends on human beings. Depends on human beings. Depends on human obedience, of course. Talk about something like that. You have to obey for it to take place. If there are things like if that means effort must be put there. For example, PG, we can talk about things like Adamic covenant. God told man covenant. In the book of Genesis, chapter number 1, verse 26, the Bible talks about creation of the man. And also Genesis 2:15 to 17. God said, let us make man our own image and our own likeness, and let them rule over the birds of the air, the fish, and the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the livestock, over all creation, and over all animals that it creeps along the ground. Just imagine of that. God, man is in charge. God told man, you are in charge. You are the one who is in charge as long as you have got my image. You are the one who is in charge. When you lose my image, you are no longer in charge. And in Genesis, man was given commands. In Genesis 2, commands, things that instruction, things that you're supposed to do for you to remain in the fellowship with God. Instruction, things that man was given for him to remain in fellowship. So if man goes against that, then God said in verse number 16, 17, God took man, put the man in the Garden of Eden and told the man, you are free to eat. The day you eat, you will surely die. And it means it depended entirely on man. That's the first one. Number two, under conditional, is what we call Mosaic covenant. It's about law. Don't forget that. God gave commandments in the book of Exodus number 20. God gave commandments to the people of Israel to follow. Things that you're supposed to do, things to follow, or things to do. things to do. So if you don't do this, blessings will not come. I'll bless you. For example, in the book of Deuteronomy it says, 28, talks about if you fully obey. If you fully obey. As the people of Israel were told that, if you fully obey my commandment, carefully follow that, I'll make sure that I bless you in the towns and in the villages, in the cities and in the villages. Let's talk about unconditional. Unconditional, they depend entirely on God. This one, their fulfillment depends entirely on God. Whether man trades or not, God must make sure it happens entirely on God. And these ones are things like what? We'll talk about depends entirely on God. It's about God's grace, mercy, and love. God's mercy, God's love. That's what we're talking about. It's unconditional. God loves us unconditionally. E.g., we talk about things like Noahic covenant. Noahic covenant, God told Noah that uh, I will never again destroy the world. I love human beings so much that I will never again destroy them using the water. Instead, I will come up with another plan to redeem mankind from the sin. Although I don't like sin, but I have to make sure that I don't destroy the human race again. Don't wipe them again. And there was sign. This is dependent on God's grace. God vowed, I will never. That's God Himself. I'll never again. God Himself said that means He must make sure it happens. He said that one. So there were signs. The sign here was the rainbow. Don't forget that. I said there. Is what we call the signs in covenants. Number two, can talk about things like Davidic. If we go to Davidic, there's Abrahamic. Abrahamic covenant. When God told Abraham, I'll bless, I will bless you. And I'll bless the world through you. I'll bless all the nations through you. All the nations through you. So God had to make sure that it happens, whether Abraham obeyed or not. Remember, when God said, I will never destroy you, people continued sinning, but God did not destroy the world because He said, I will never destroy. Abraham was given a promise when they're making the covenant that I will never, I will bless all the nations through you. God had to make sure no matter what happens, what Abraham did, He finally blesses the world. All nation through Abraham. That's the unconditional no matter what you do. There are things like number three, another one. So you read the book of Genesis 18. Genesis 18. 18 to 22 chapters. Those chapters, you read that one. Then I talk about the Davidic covenant again. The Davidic covenant. This one, God said, I will make sure that no matter what happens, even if your descendants, even if the people will come after your offspring, will come after you like the Solomon who came after, does sin. Sins, I must make sure at the end of the day their kingdom is everlasting. Your kingdom is everlasting. And God made sure that happens. And in that lineage came Jesus Christ. Don't forget that. So that's the point. That God made sure that it happens no matter what the human being does on the face of the earth, God has to make sure it happens. So those are some of the differences between conditional and unconditional, and the examples are there. And I think I've explained in a better way that we are able to understand. So that is Old Testament. Thank you so much for following me. Make sure that you comment, like, and share. And if there is any topic that you want me to tackle, kindly let me know. Thank you so much.